you, Joe. Welcome everyone to join us in our studio. We've been here for about 18 months and we're immensely proud of the building that we occupy. It was a unique opportunity for us to tailor a space that reflected who we are as an organisation and build it from the ground up. So I'm just going to quickly run through the project here. Joe's told me I've got 5 minutes and 5 slides to condense about 2.5 years of my life into this presentation, so I'll try and keep within that timeline. So this building is a unique opportunity in many regards. It's an old building, is built in the 1940s. It's got no heritage status, it was not protected, and we're working for effectively a ruthless commercial developer, and they could have knocked it down and started again. Fortunately, they listened to us and saw that this was a really fantastic opportunity to retain an authentic connection to the past and the heritage of the area and the precinct and the site. They also had the advantage that this building was part of is part of a 20,000 square metre development, which is part of the site that we're on now. This was developed at the same time as the building next door, 12 Madden. It's about 5,000 square metres. The building next door is about 9,000. So within that, they had a capped development opportunity. So they were able to see that they could max out the rest of the site and work with this, kind of quite special, unique building. It wasn't always this way, and we'll go through that as we go further through the presentation. But I guess what we kind of looked at when we saw this was that, in its kind of raw kind of form and context, it was. It had quite a presence about it, and we saw an opportunity to do something quite special and unique, for ourselves and for our client. A lot of people go, why Mason Brothers? And Mason Brothers don't work here anymore, but the building was built for them originally. They were an engineering company. They occupied the site for about 50 or 60 years under different names. And it was one of these kind of unique things that we didn't actually know this when we took the building on. Everyone referred to the building as Southern Spas because they were the most recent occupiers of the site. Southern Spas now occupy a huge custom built facility out on Rosebank Road where they make the AC 50 America's Cup boats and all sorts of high-end sailing masts and yachts and what have you. So we kind of came across this and went, hey, this building has a real history that we want to, bring the story back to it. We found this drawing in the archive somewhere, and it was kind of a nice cue and a nice touch to see what it had been before. From here, it was kind of a question about what do we do with this, very decrepit, kind of glorified pigeon coop. It was literally falling down around our ears. You had to, full PPE just to come onto the site. But 70 metres long, 30 metres wide, about 15 to 20 metres high. It had a great volume, and it's just a question of what could we actually do with that volume. I can't take credit for this image. Blair, our director, kind of latched onto this image, and I think in his mind it probably reflects what architects are, that kind of mysterious, heroic people that venture into the unknown. Other than that, it's just a really cool image that we wanted to use for this. But it also did kind of talk about the mysteriousness of what could be in the space, and literally how could we reflect and amplify what we were doing in the building. This is what we had to start with. Not quite the image we had in mind with the previous slide. What we sought to do was retain as much as we physically could of the existing building. In saying that, there was a lot of stuff that we had to take out. It was clad from head to toe in asbestos. All the roof lights that you can see in the sawtooth roof were falling out. it was rusty and it was corroding. There was no daylight. It was in pretty poor state. And not to mention the entire site is heavily contaminated. And so we had to deal with ground conditions where we've got hydrocarbons coming, wanting to find their way through the floor, all sorts of issues. So the first thing was to peel back all those layers, peel back the asbestos, take all the glazing out. And then we had to start looking at opportunities to bring in daylight into the building. So all the upper levels that you can see were solid cladding. We've put in the curtain walling system there. We re-glazed the south lights on the sawtooth roof. And then all the openings that you see along the base here were punched through the existing double skin brickwork. And a lot of this was planned from the outset, the key moves about the object within the precious volume within the kind of rough, raw, rugged exterior. But a lot of the things were kind of a process of discovery as we went through the project around what was valuable to keep and what we could retain. And it was literally a process of pulling layers and layers from the building until we got to a point where, that's enough, we've got to stop. I mean, all the brickwork you can kind of see in the final state looks fantastic. It was covered in about 20 layers of paint, over that kind of 70, 80 years of kind of occupation. But, when a man dressed not too dissimilarly to that man in the spacesuit for about 3 months on site, peeling all those layers back, exposing that brickwork and repointing it and all the rest of it. Same goes with all the steelwork. A lot of the superstructure was retained, and then we added on a new structural bay that kind of divided it up and allowed us to insert these new two mezzanine floors. And then when we kind of finally got the go-ahead to take our hands on this part of the building, we were able to carve out this big void space that you see here. So in amongst there's kind of some natural kind of moves towards sustainability. We wanted to retain as much of this building as we could. It cost more for the client than building a new building, but we were able to save a significant part of this building and create a direct connection to the site that otherwise would have been completely taken away. And then within that there is obviously layers of sustainable initiatives that we've added to the project with our collaborators from Mott McDonald on the services and also Holmes, our engineers. And I think our position is that a lot of these features are they're fantastic, but in our minds they are business as usual, and it's the way that all our buildings are going. It's what our clients are demanding from commercial office space and non-commercial space as well. So a lot of the key features that are completely ubiquitous with the project like this are LED lighting throughout. It's all zoned on controls. If you leave a zone, the light's going to turn off. Rainwater harvesting. We use the grey water for flushing the toilets, and that diverts water from going into the wastewater network. Low VOC materials, recyclable materials like the carpets, sustainable timber. All the timber that goes back into the frame that you see comes from sustainable sources. So there's a whole range of things that are essentially by default the right thing to do. In saying that this building and the building next door, which is a new build from ground up, both have targeted and achieved a 5-star design rating. For this project, we're currently seeking a higher rating than 5-star, which will be a really good outcome, and we're just going through the paperwork at the moment. So really, it's easy for people to arrive and kind of think, what a great space. We kind of chucked in some gold glass and rolled out a bit of carpet, and here we are. But I think there's a lot of images around this that kind of conveys how challenging it is to readapt an existing building. But I think on the same hand, it's an opportunity that doesn't come very often, and us as architects are always looking for that. We should seize it and take it when it comes. So from that to that, and I think this really achieves even exceeds what we were trying to achieve with the idea of this mysterious object that was kind of suspended within the building that offers kind of opportunities to look in and see out. It reflects itself, it reflects the space and amplifies what's essentially a fantastic building. We didn't have to do a whole lot more than just put a box inside it. And here we are.